Have you ever looked at a photo of a person or maybe a piece of art and just had this weird feeling like, is that even real? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible AI that's making that question harder and harder to answer. Let's jump in.
Okay, so take a good look at this face. I mean, really look. The details, the little imperfections, the way the light hits the eyes, it all looks totally normal, right? Well, here's the thing. This person does not exist at all. She was completely dreamed up, pixel by perfect pixel, by an AI. So the question is, how on earth is that possible?
The magic behind this whole illusion is something called a Generative Adversarial Network, or a GAN for short. And that word right there, adversarial, that's the key. This isn't just one AI working by itself. No, this is two AIs locked in a head-to-head competition.
So what does that actually mean? Well, at its core, a GAN is made of two neural networks that are basically rivals. You've got the generator, and its whole job is to create stuff. Then you have the discriminator, and its job is to judge that stuff. They're adversarial because they're working against each other, and it's that very conflict that forces them both to get ridiculously good at what they do.
You know, the best way to get this is to think of it like an art forger and an art critic. The generator, that's our artist. It's trying to paint a forgery so perfect that it could fool the world's best experts. And the discriminator, that's our critic, a super sharp inspector whose only purpose in life is to call out the fakes.
So how does this rivalry actually play out? Well, you can think of it like a game, a really high-stakes game of digital cat and mouse that they play over and over and over again.
Here's how the game is played. Step 1. The artist makes a fake. Step 2. The critic looks at a big pile of images, some are real, and some are the artist's new forgeries. Its job is to tell which is which. Now, every time the critic gets it right, it gets a little bit smarter. But every time the artist fools the critic, the artist learns what worked and gets better at making fakes. You repeat this cycle literally millions of times until the critic is an almost unbeatable detective and the artist is a true master forger.
Okay, so now we know how this incredible game of pretend works. But where is it actually being used? Because this idea, this powerful tech, it's not just for making fake faces for fun, it's having a massive impact across a ton of different industries.
And I mean, just look at the spread here. In media and entertainment, they're used for everything from special effects to restoring old classic films. In healthcare, they can create synthetic medical scans for research. Retailers are using them to generate super realistic product photos without a camera. And they're even in manufacturing, helping to simulate rare equipment failures so we can build better safety systems.
Let's get a little more specific. Beyond just creating images from nothing, GANs are wizards of transformation. You've got super resolution, which can take an old blurry video and make it crystal clear. There's style transfer, and this is wild. It can literally take a video of a horse and turn it into a zebra. But maybe the most important use is something called data augmentation, which is really just a fancy way of saying creating more data when you don't have enough.
I mean, think about this for a sec. Imagine an old, grainy film reel. There's only so much information in those frames. But a GAN, trained on thousands of hours of high-res footage, can look at that blurry image and make a really good guess about the details that are missing. It can fill in the blanks, sharpening and restoring it to a state we thought was lost to time. It's amazing.
And this idea of creating data, honestly, this is the real revolution. It's not just about making fakes, it's about creating brand new, useful data. Say you're training an AI to spot a super rare type of cancer, but you only have a few dozen real scans to learn from. Well, a GAN can study those scans and then generate thousands of new synthetic ones that are totally realistic. This helps solve one of the biggest problems in AI, not having enough data to train with. It makes our AI smarter, and in cases like this, it could literally save lives.
But here's the catch. Creating a perfect forager is not easy. The training process is incredibly delicate, and when things go wrong, the results can be, well, let's just say they get weird. And even more importantly, when things go right, we're faced with some really serious ethical questions.
On the technical side, there are two classic glitches. The first is called mode collapse. This is basically when an artist gets lazy. It finds one little trick that fools the critic, and it just does that one thing over and over again, creating no variety. Then there's unstable training. This happens when the two AIs get out of sync and just stop learning. Imagine the critic gets so good so fast that the artist can't keep up and just gives up. The whole learning process just falls apart.
Of course,
Researchers are on this. They're constantly trying to build a better game. And over the years, we've seen this incredible evolution of GANs, from the early, clunky models to much more stable versions designed to fix these training problems, all the way to the state-of-the-art models like StyleGAN, which are the ones creating those insanely realistic faces we saw at the beginning.
So, we're getting better and better at solving the technical glitches. We are building more perfect forgers. And that forces us to face a much, much harder question.
And this is where we hit the ethical minefield. The exact same tech that can create helpful medical data can also be used to create deepfakes and other kinds of synthetic media that are specifically designed to lie to you. The power to create a perfect, convincing fake from absolutely nothing is, well, it's a dangerous tool in the wrong hands.
So what's the takeaway here? In the end, a GAN is a tool. Just like any powerful technology, its potential for good in art and science and medicine is absolutely huge. But that power comes with a huge responsibility to use it ethically, to think about things like watermarking fakes or being transparent about what's real and what's not.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? The one we're all going to have to deal with as this technology gets more and more common. When an AI can create a perfect fake, a perfect illusion, how do any of us know what's real anymore?